Hey guys, and welcome back to another video of ECK Sports, and today I'm going to be giving my mid-season predictions for the MLB today, going over where I think each team will place in their division, plus my playoff predictions. This will be a very fun video. It'll also be pretty long. I did one of these before the season, so it'll be interesting to see how this compares with that. And also, there will be a trade deadline video out soon, as well as some other stuff. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into these predictions. Okay, before we actually get into the predictions, I just wanted to go over these signs that are going to be on the standings when I show them. So obviously the E is eliminated, Y is division clinched, and then X is wildcard spot. This is already a thing on a lot of standing websites for all sports, so some of you guys may recognize this, a lot of you won't, but here's what we're going to be using today. So in the AL East, the 5th spot, you knew was coming. It's going to be the Orioles. I mean, yeah, they have Trey Mancini, Cedric Mullins, who've had pretty good years, as well as John Means, who's been pretty good too, but outside of that, not much there. 4th place, shockingly, the New York Yankees. Now, you guys probably expected this, but at the beginning of the year, if you told me the Yankees would be in 4th place right now, I would not believe you. Their only real guy that's been on the entire season, hasn't gotten into a slump much, is Aaron Judge. On the offensive side, DJ's had a down year. Gary Sanchez has been very streaky. Gio Urshela has been fine. And then the rest of the outfield, like Stanton's been solid, but injuries as usual. So, I'm not a fan of this team. The bullpen has been terrible. Chad Green and Aroldis Chapman, man, they have just been really bad. Cole's been pretty good. I know we had a little bit of a rough time after he couldn't use the 60 stuff anymore, but the past start or 2 weeks came back pretty strong. But guys like Tyon hasn't been pretty good. Montgomery, it's fine, but it's not elite. Number 3, you have a very fun team. Not much pitching, but a lot of offense. The Blue Jays, they have a ton of offense, like I said. They have Guerrero, Bichette, Hernandez, Richick, Biggio, Simeon, and even Springer's coming back. And then on the pitching side of things, their bullpen is terrible. And then their starting rotation, it's 2 guys. It's 2 names. It's Hyun-Jin Ryu, Robbie Ray. After that, there's been some pretty atrocious seasons. Guys like Steven Matz and Ross Stripling have just been killing Blue Jays fans right now. So hopefully they can make some moves at the deadline. I feel like they will. They're my favorite team in the division, I'll be honest right now. The number 2 spot, you have the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, unfortunately, I've just never been a big fan of this team for some reason. I just don't like the way they're built with, they really build through the bullpen. I just don't really like that. Their offense, they have a bunch of solid names and stuff. They're just not really that fun. There isn't any superstar or even star in there. Their best hitters are Joey Wendell and Mike Zunino. That's just really not going to cut it. They don't really have terrible hitters, guys that we've never seen do well, but they also don't have that star power. And then on the rotation, it's really bad. They don't have a single guy in their starting 5, which is Hill, Yarbrough, McClanahan, Fleming, Waka. They don't have a single guy with a below 3.8 ERA. Hill's been solid. Fleming's been okay. Outside of that, all the guys have been bad. Everybody thinks Yarbrough's really good. He's not. He has a 4.5 ERA. But here's where they come. The bullpen. Springs, Kittredge, McHugh, Castillo, Fairbanks, JP Ferry, I can't even pronounce his name. Nick Anderson on the 60-day DL, but he's still really good. The reason why they're here is because they're bullpen. They make it work. They're not that great on paper, but they make it work, and that's the most important thing. And then you got the Red Sox at number 1 in the AL East. That lineup is stacked. Martinez, Renfroe, Verdugo, Bogarts, Devers, Hernandez, even Arroyo, Vasquez. That lineup's very good. I forgot to even mention Bobby Dahlbeck. And the pitching side, their starting rotation is awful. Rodriguez, terrible year. Pivetta, terrible year. Richards, terrible year. Perez, terrible year. Evaldi, solid year. But he's really been their only good starter. But here's where it comes back. The bullpen, Ottavino, Taylor, Whitlock, Barnes have all been locked down. If the Red Sox really want to compete, they're going to have to get a starting pitcher. But outside of that starting pitching rotation, which is terrible, by the way, they're really good. And by the way, Chris Sale is coming back. I see people like, oh my gosh, Chris Sale is going to make a huge difference. I don't think so. He hasn't pitched in 2 years, and the last time we've seen him pitch, he pitched awful in 2019. He was good in 18. We haven't seen him really in 3 years, if you think about it. So I'm not a big fan of, oh my gosh, Chris Sale is going to be amazing, that whole thing. But he'll be a solid starter. He's not going to be good. He's not going to be amazing, though. But all right, the AL Central, 5th place. I know a lot of people, they're high on them. They're like, okay, this team's up and coming. Casey Mize, Tarek Skubal. No, Jonathan Scope. I hate to break it to you Tigers fans, but I don't see it. I look at this lineup. I look at the Twins. I look at the Royals, and the Tigers are much worse. I think this is one of the teams that's going to take a dip in the second half. Casey Mize, Terry Screwball, Gregory Soto, Jonathan Scope, pretty good, right? They've seen some production. Obviously, Akil Baddoo, Fuzzy Fanboy. Cabrera, no, not the year. Grossman, he's come up in some moments. The bullpen outside of Gregory Soto hasn't been it this year. I mean, when you have Jose Urena in your rotation, you know something's wrong. So I think they're a 5th place team. Coming in at number 4, you got the Minnesota Twins. Now, I know they have a very good, lineup and stuff. I think they're going to be sellers at the deadline. Not just sellers, big sellers. Barrios is going to be gone. Rogers, gone. You may even see Donaldson go. Buxton, probably not, but maybe. And then Nelson Cruz. You're going to see at least 2 of these guys in my trade deadline video, I promise you. I mean, I still think even with some of those guys getting out, they're going to be better than the Tigers because I just see the Tigers dipping. I think teams are going to start to catch on with these younger guys. Like Twins are also going to fall off. Coming at the 3rd spot, this is a big shock, but it is the Kansas City Royals. Here's why. Now, I actually don't think they're going to sell at the deadline. They've never really done that too much. Like, they've never really sold big time at the deadline. And their team has been bad the past couple of years. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, Duffy's going to be gone. Holland's going to be gone. Perez, Witt. I think all these guys are staying, and they have a good lineup. Benintendi has had a really good year. Solaire, no. Michael A. Taylor, he's been pretty good. Hunter Dozier, not so much. Whit Merrifield, been great. Carlos Santana, been great. Salvador Perez, been awesome. The bullpen, no. Terrible. And yeah, the rotation's been pretty bad too. But I really like this lineup. I just think they're better than the other 2 teams. I just don't see them selling for some reason. This is my worst take here, probably. I think I'm kind of biased because I like the Royals more than the Tigers and the Twins. Coming in at number 2, I think everybody has them at number 2. That's going to be the Indians. They are loaded pitching right now. Fortunately, the injury bug has kind of killed them there. They have a lot of depth. Where they fall is the offense. It's really 2 names, Jose Ramirez and Franmil Reyes. Other than that, they have nothing. So they're coming in at the 2 spot. And also their rotation's been sick with Karinchak and Clase. And by the way, Clase has not been good recently. I really like the Indians. Not that much, but I like them more than the other 13. And I don't think they're going to be sellers either. Coming in at number 1, I don't even have to explain. It's the White Sox. I mean, you all knew this was coming. Like, they're just stacked. Keuchel, Cease, Giolito. Those are like, 3, 4, and 5 stars. And then you got Lynn, who's been sick. You have Rondon, who is the Cy Young in the AL right now. Those are 5 pitchers that are having at least good seasons. Like, I know Giolito's been up and down, and he's not been awesome. Definitely number 1. And I didn't even mention the lineup. I mean, that lineup, I don't even have to mention it. Like Anderson, Moncada, Abreu, Grandal. I mean, it's just crazy. And they're getting Robert back, and they're getting Jimenez back soon. I mean, this team's just unbeatable. The AL West, you have at the number 5 spot, the Rangers. It's not really a surprise. The Rangers are here. They had 3 All-Stars, Gallo, Gibson, Garcia. Other than that, they've seen little to no production. And by the way, I see Gallo and Gibson getting traded at the deadline, so this team's going to fall even further than they are right now, which is not a good spot. I don't see much for this team. Coming in at the 4th spot, you have the Angels. This is a little bit shocking that the Angels are kind of slow, and they have talent. And I know it's every year, trade for pitching, trade for pitching, trade for pitching. I don't think they're going to do it. Why? Because they never do. And I mean, they've had some solid production this year. Like, Ohtani's been awesome. Walsh has been awesome. Bundy's taken a big step down. Everybody else in that rotation hasn't been good, other than Shohei, who's really been their only good starter. And the bullpen has also been pretty bad, other than like Iglesias. I think Rendon is going to bounce back once Trout comes back. They're going to be better, but I don't know. I don't really see them getting too far up. Coming in at number 3, I mean, you got the Mariners. They've been kind of surprising. Their rotation has been really, really good this year, and not really talked about that much. I mean, you got Logan Gilbert, Yusei Kikuchi, who just made the All-Star team, Marco Gonzalez, and Chris Flexen. That is a very, very good rotation. Bullpen, they've seen some solid, work too from guys like Kendall Graveman, Anthony Kenyon Middleton, JT Chargos, Drew Steckendire, Paul Sewald especially. I mean, they've had really good production from a lot of guys. And then in that, Seager, Crawford, Kelenick's kind of been hitting it back again after an 0-for-42 streak. Mitch Haniger has been sick. I mean, that guy's just been ripping the cover off the baseball. His team's pretty sneaky, pretty good. I kind of like where they're at right now. All right, then you have the A's as one of the wild card spots. You can see it by that X there. They're pretty good. I mean, Manaya, Montas, Bassett have been pretty good in that rotation. In the bullpen, they've gotten production from Petit, Romo, Diekman, and some others. And then in the lineup, you have Murphy, who's been pretty solid. Olsen, who's just, that guy's just different. Lowry, been very good. Chapman, been solid. Canna also had a very good year. Ramon, still pretty good. I mean, they've got a lot of players there, and I think they're going to make a move at the deadline for a cheap player, like they always do. They're always going to be competitive, and they're going to get one of the wild card spots. And then coming in at first place, you have the Astros. The shirt I'm wearing, you knew it was coming. I mean, say what you want about the cheating, but look past it. Look what they're doing now. So, why does that even matter? Oh, you cheated. Oh, da, da, da. Okay, yeah. But guess what? If you just keep looking at that, you gotta look past that now. That was 4 or 5 years ago. So it's a new season, and look what the Astros are doing now. So I would say just, Alright, anyway, if you look at their team, it's extremely good. Their rotation, they don't have an ace, but they have a lot of really good players. They have Greinke, McCullers, Valdez, Garcia, Odorizzi, and Christian Javier. Those are 6 guys that have pitched below 40 ERAs. I think Odorizzi is a little over that now, but none of these guys are really aces, unfortunately. So the Astros may need to find an ace. They don't really have a game, a game 1 starter in an ALCS, so I'm sure they're going to need to find that at the trade deadline. The weak point of their team is their bullpen. They have Ryan Stanek and Ryan Presley. Outside of that, they don't have much. Joe Smith, not good. Ryan Abreu, he's probably a guy that gets traded. Blake Taylor, he's up and down. And there's been some other guys too. I remember last year, you had Paradis and you had Scrub. It was kind of stacked, but they haven't really pitched that much this year. So probably one more bullpen arm could be helpful. The lineup is that's where this team gets really good. Gurriel, Altuve, Correa, Brantley, Tucker, Alvarez. Come on. You got Bregman too, who's on the 10-day. They're definitely number 1 in the AL West for me. Now we go to the NL. I'll do the playoff picture later. Your 5th place team is the Miami Marlins. I really didn't want them to be 5th because I actually like the Marlins. I'm kind of a big fan. Guys, I wanted to put them 3rd really badly. Couldn't really do it because, their offense has pieces. It has Jesus Aguilar. It has Jazz Chisholm, who just got injured. Starling Marte, Adam Duvall, Garrett Cooper, Michael Rojas, John Birdie. There's some decent names there. And obviously the pitching is really good too with Rogers, Alcantara, and Lopez. And if they get Sixto back, it's even better. I don't know. I want to put them in 3rd, but I just can't do it. They're going to trade Starling. I don't think they trade Jesus Aguilar because he's been traded a lot at the deadline. Maybe they trade Jorge Alfaro. I don't know. This team's definitely going to make some moves. Sadly, I don't know. I looking at the roster, I really want them to be in 3rd, but I can't go there just yet. Coming in 4th, I know they've done well recently. It's the Phillies. And by the way, I wanted to put this team in 5th place really badly. 2 starters, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler. Their bullpen, not shockingly, is terrible. Even their lineup, they have Harper, they have McCutchen, Gregorius, Bohm has not been good. Segura, Hoskins, Ramuto. I want to put this team at 5th because the Marlins have a better team. Like, I'm sorry, the Marlins just have a better team. I'm just saying what's true. Marlins have a better team, but, the Phillies, I guess they're executing, and the Marlins aren't as much, so that's why. I kind of wanted to put the Nationals in 4th, but I decided 3rd was their spot. I'm not sure if they're going to trade Scherzer. I think he'll stay. They've been getting good production from Strasburg, Corbin, Ross, and Lester. In their bullpen, Daniel Hudson, Tanner Rainey, and Brad Hand have all been really good. In the lineup, it's kind of their down point if you really think about it that way. Kyle Schwarber has had an awesome year. Fortunately, he's on the 10-day IL. Trey Turner, great year. Juan Soto, he's really bounced back since the home run derby. He said it fixed his swing, which, I could definitely believe that because he has been awesome ever since then. So, the Nationals are coming in at 3rd. I don't know. I don't think they have as good of a team as the teams ahead of them. Coming in at the number 2 spot, you have the Braves. They have not been able to get to 500 this season, which is kind of sad. Their starting pitching hasn't been that great. Max Fried's had a down year, but I think he's going to be one of the second half bounce backs. Drew Smyly also having a down year. I also think he's going to bounce back in the second half. These are two guys that had great 2020s. I feel like they're going to have great second half. Ian Anderson has been a beast, and Charlie Morton has also been very good. So just thinking about it, I think they're going to bounce back. I think they're pretty good. And then the Braves, they have Chris Martin, Kevin Joseph, and Will Smith, and then Shane Green. He hasn't really played that much. He's pretty good. So they have some pitchers in the bullpen. So it's not really that bad. And in the lineup, you obviously have Freeman, Albies, Riley, Swanson, and Peterson. It's pretty good. Even Pablo Sandoval, who has came up in some moments. So we'll see what happens with Marcell Ozuna. Obviously, they had a big hit with Ronald Acuna being injured. For everyone saying, oh, they shouldn't have traded for Jock Peterson. Okay, how is anyone going to be comfortable with Orlando Arcia, like Guillermo Heredia, in their outfield, along with an Air Arizadana? Like, how are you comfortable with that outfield? That's why you trade for Jock. Hopefully Ender Inciarte comes back soon. And, we know Ronald Acuna is going to be out for the year, but we'll see. Coming in at number 1, it is the Mets. You knew it was coming. With that stacked rotation of DeGrom, Stroman, Walker, Peterson, and then the bullpen is solid with Lugo, May, Familia, Loop, Castro, and Diaz. And then that lineup with McCann, Alonso, McNeil, Davis, Lindor, Smith, Nimmo, Conforto, and it's pretty good. And with Jonathan Villar and Kevin Pillar coming off the bench, this team is really good. Also, Luis Guimore, and Tomas Nido. It is a very, very solid bench unit too. So I think this team's going to start to turn it up. For 5th place in the NL Central, you got the Pittsburgh Pirates. They're just not that good. They don't have much pitching at all. Brian Hayes, Brian Reynolds, and Adam Frazier. Outside of that, nothing much. And I expect Adam Frazier and Brian Reynolds to be traded, by the way. So not much going for the Pirates, definitely 5th place. Coming in at 4th place, this team's just going to start to sell big time. They've already gotten rid of Jock Peterson, probably going to get rid of Craig Kimbrell, maybe Chris Bryant and Javier Baez, and maybe even Anthony Rizzo. They have a good roster. They have a lot of guys that are good players that they can trade. So I expect a lot of those guys to be out of there. Don't really have to mention, their roster and stuff, because a lot of it's probably going to change because I assume that they're going to be sellers at the trade deadline, as they've already made a selling move to trade Jock Peterson. So sorry, Cubs fans, but rebuild time. Coming in at the number 3 spot, you have the Cardinals. I've just never been a big fan of this team. You have Tyler O'Neill, Paul Goldschmidt, and Nolan Arenado. And then you're going to say, oh, Yadier Molina's had a great year. Oh, yeah, look at his OPS. Not a good season. And then Jack Flaherty, I believe, is injured right now. And yeah, they have Alex Reyes, who's actually been pretty good, but he walks a lot of people. So, man, the bottom 3 teams in this division are not going anywhere. And then in the 2nd spot, you have the Reds. Just look at their team. Nick Castellanos, Jesse Winker, Aristides Aquino, Eugenio Suarez, Mike Moustakas, and Joey Votto. That is a very, very good team. I can't put them in 1st, obviously. Wanted to put them in 3rd, but when you look at it, you can't. So we'll see how it ends up going for them. And not to mention their pitching. Wade Miley been awesome awesome this year with Luis Castillo, who's bouncing back, and Sonny Gray, who's also had a great year. This team is looking really good. If they can add a bullpen arm or two, do not be surprised if they sneak into the playoffs. I know that is crazy. All right, coming in at the number 1 spot, it's the Brewers. I mean, how is it not? Brandon Woodruff, Corbin Burns, Freddie Peralta, 3 All-Stars. You go to the lineup with Omar Narvaez, Daniel Vogelback, Colton Wong, Willie Adames, Christian Yelich, Lorenzo Cain, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Avisail Garcia. I mean, I know and even Jace Peterson. I mean, I know the lineup doesn't scare you. It is a good lineup. I mean, Willie Adames has just been going off recently. Same with Omar Narvaez. I think this team has got this division and could maybe make a run at the NLCS. The NL West. Coming in at 5th place, it's the Diamondbacks. Don't have to say much. They're probably going to trade Eduardo Escobar. I wouldn't expect Ketel Marte or Zach Gallen to go anywhere, but I don't know. This team's not looking good. Don't have to say much. 5th place. 4th place, you got the Rockies. At home, the Rockies are a very good team. Road, yeah, we don't talk about that, but I expect Trevor Story to go. I expect German Marquez to go. And I'm telling you guys right now, if German Marquez gets traded, he's going to be great because pitching in Colorado is not easy. He's at a 3.5 ERA pitching in Colorado. Not that easy to do that. I would even expect maybe even John Gray to get traded. We'll see. Here's where the division starts. At the number 3 spot, you have the San Francisco Giants. Yeah, it's crazy to say, isn't it? I don't know. I feel like the other teams will kind of step it up a little bit more. They've just been really good with Kevin Gausman, Anthony DeSclafani, Johnny Cueto, who's been solid, Alex Wood, who's been pretty good, to add on to the bullpen, which is pretty good. I mean, Jose Alvarez, Tyler Rogers, Jake McGee. But here's where it starts, the lineup. Buster Posey, Brandon Belt, Donovan Solano, Wilmer Flores, somehow just blasted onto the show this year. He's having his best year at 34 years old. Buster Posey also having one of his best years. Mike Yastrzemski, Alex Dickerson, this team is lit. They would be first in so many other divisions, probably like every division except maybe no, I don't think they'd be first in the AL Central or the AL West. They would definitely be first in the NL Central, NL East, or AL East, but unfortunately, they're in this division. They have like the three of the top 5 teams in baseball. All right, now you have the Padres, who currently are 3rd, but I think they're going to turn it up a little bit. I mean, they've still been really good. Like Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, Blake Snell, Dinelson Lamet, and Chris Paddock. I know Lamet, Paddock, and Snell have not been the best, especially Snell and Paddock. They still have a lot of talent, as we know. In the bullpen, Drew Pomerant's been very good, as well as Mark Melanson, who has been just the save king. And then you go to the lineup, and I know they're going to make a move because, I mean, probably for the bullpen, maybe for the rotation, maybe a catcher. I don't know. In the lineup, they have Eric Hosmer, Jake Cronenworth, Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, Tommy Pham, Trent Grisham, Will Myers, and even on the bench, they have Ha-Seong Kim and Jurickson Profar. They have a stacked team. I've heard the Joey Gallo rumors. I don't believe them. They already have a filled outfield with Pham, Grisham, and Myers. So, I mean, we'll see what they do. I think they're going to make a move for a bullpen pitcher. We'll talk about that in my trade deadline video. But yeah, looking pretty good for the Padres this year. 2nd place, in my opinion. 1st place, you got the Dodgers. I know the whole Trevor Bauer situation's going on right now, but you got Kershaw, you got Buehler, you got Urias, you got Gonsolin, you got Dustin May, who I believe will be out for the entire season. Bullpen's still pretty good. Jansen, Trinan, Kelly. And then in the lineup, it's just stacked. I mean, Will Smith, Austin Barnes, Max Muncy, Chris Taylor, Justin Turner, Gavin Lux, AJ Pollock, Cody Bellinger, Mookie Betts, and Albert Pujols. This team is stacked. Like, there's no denying. They're 2nd in the NL West right now by 1 game. I think they're going to take over the Giants. They're hot right now. And if they ever get back Trevor Bauer, they're even better. So this team is very scary. The playoff picture in the AL is White Sox, Astros, Red Sox. Your wildcard teams are the Rays and the A's. Your division winners are the Dodgers, Brewers, and Mets. And then your wildcard teams are the Giants and Padres. For the AL wildcard, it is the Athletics versus the Rays. I have the Rays taking this one. In the NL wildcard, it's Giants versus Padres. Man, I really like the Padres. I gotta go with the Padres here. Very good team. I mean, I mentioned their roster. They're just so good. And then in the division series, you have the White Sox versus the Rays. You know where I'm going here. I'm going with the White Sox. Yeah, they are really good. I mean, we all know it. I mentioned their roster earlier. Stacked pitching, stacked hitting, very good fielding. They're gonna be here. Astros versus Red Sox. Sox. This is going to be a very good series, very close match. I think the Astros have a bit of an upper ledge over the Red Sox. The Astros' playoff weakness is not having an ace pitcher, and the Red Sox have that exact same weakness, but worse. They have a number 2 or 3 pitcher, and then they have a bunch of 4 and 5 starters. Well, the Astros, about 5, 2, and 3 starters and like a 4 starter. So they're set. Dodgers versus Padres. You knew this one was coming. I'm actually going to have the Padres taking this one. I think it's going to be a very close series, going to that full 5 games. But I just have the Padres taking it. And then in the NL Division Series, I'm going to go with the fun pick. I'm going to go with the Mets. I think it would be really cool to see them here. I think they just have a slight edge over the Brewers. I mean, both teams have a lot of depth at pitcher. Both teams have 3 all-star pitchers for sure. The difference is the hitting, and that's where the Mets are better. White Sox, Astros. I also have this going to 7 games. I think this is going to be such a good series. In my opinion, 2 out of the 5 best teams in baseball. And I just said the 3 teams in the NL West are 3 out of the 5 best teams in baseball. So there you go. Now you know what I think are the 5 best teams in baseball. But yeah, I have the White Sox taking it. I'm going to be unbiased here. I am an Astros fan, got the shirt on, but I got to go with the White Sox. I just think they have a little bit of an advantage just because, again, they have like 3 ace pitchers. Well, the Astros don't have any. All right, in the NL Championship Series, it's the Mets and the Padres. I think the Padres are going to take this easily, like 4 or 5 games. I just think they are a lot better than the Mets. On paper, these teams are right up against each other. When they play in game, the Padres are way better. I am sticking with my World Series prediction from the beginning of the season. I had Padres versus White Sox. I think I had the Padres winning. I'm going to go a little different here. I got the White Sox winning. Awesome pitching. They have 6 great pitchers. Not to mention the bullpen's great too. And I mean, that lineup is stacked with getting Robert back and Jimenez. This team is on fire. So yeah, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I know it was like a long one, but yeah, see you for the next one. Peace out.